Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Shai by Shem Kodash. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the hopefully elect out there. Shalom to you all. And anyway, I'm going to entitle this video. Okay, you see the title right there. I'm going to entitle this Elder Chaazaq of the One West, Elder Chaazaq of the Seven of the One West. And this is, I might change the title up a little bit. And this is the original title of this video is Sham, which is this individual over here. My conversation with Elder Chaazaq of One West will never reform. Excuse me. Now this is on a video of what I believe was Lion's Den. It'll show up, and I'll tell you. I'll point it out to you. And he called in the middle of the show, and he was talking, asking Chaazaq or Elder Chaazaq or High Priest. At that time he was known as High Priest Chaazaq, and I remember him very well. I remember him personally. Okay, I'd seen him many times. Matter of fact, he had the Wednesday night class, and I was an understudy for that. Meaning his job, the way his job was, he couldn't make it a lot of times, so I was like the backup, and I would teach his class. And there came a point when I was teaching the class, every week. But so he asked me, I need you to teach the class, this, that, and the third, and I said, no problem. And I started teaching the class. Let me say what else I got to say about him. Okay, he's going to tell. Now, we found out that, and I'm going to cut this up because I don't know if I could. There's a lot of information. I'll be stopping whatever he says, I'm going to be stopping, and, put in, my thoughts and filter everything through the scriptures of certain things that he's going to say. But I'll say this, as far as we go back, when I came in the mid 80s, he was in here 79. He said 79, which makes sense because he had some years on me in the school. He was an established teacher. That was before they even called it Seven. The title The Seven came out later after I came in. But one thing that he was known for, and the way he speaks now is the way he spoke back then. Didn't tell no jokes. Very straightforward. Like me myself, I'll tell a little joke here and there, a little corny joke, and even your High Priest Yeshai and us, But when he starts speaking, he's very abrupt, very straightforward, pretty much like High Priest Ariah. But one thing he's known for, him and Yeshaya, was we're going to be delivered out as UFOs, which is the chariots. Now, I don't know if it came from him, the Spirit worked on him first or worked with Yeshaya, but they both brought it to the school right before I came in. Because back then, they were saying you got to get your passports because when the missiles hit the Babylon the Great, we're going to have to hop on planes and go to South America. Well, how can you hop on planes and go to South America if they say you got 25 minutes to do whatever the hell you're going to do because the missile's going to hit? There's no way you can get to an airport and put in reservations and do all that. So we know that the scriptures is talking about a deliverance. The scriptures, speak about. I'm trying to paraphrase. Can't even think of the precept, even the way you say it. It says something to the effect of the strangeness of his salvation. Yep, the strangeness of his salvation. Let me go ahead and bring that up. Give me a second. Bear with me for a minute. Let it come on up. I'm not going to go into the whole topic of the so-called UFO or chariot scriptures. I'm just going into the one precept because we done did videos on it. So give me a second. Okay. Okay, let's click on it. Let me go modify it. Apocrypha, Wisdom of Solomon, 5 verse 2. And I'm going to start at 1. And we know that Solomon is Yahweh Shai. Okay, let me go to 1. Then shall the man in great boldness for the face of such as have afflicted him. We're being afflicted by our current enemy, the Edomites, and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled. When the enemy sees it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. And that's talking about the because us getting on planes and leaving is not no strangeness of our salvation. The plane, Delta is not gonna, JetBlue is not gonna give us salvation. Well, you're gonna have the angels as the pilots. It's talking about the UFOs, the chariots of the Most High. So it was Chaazaq and Yeshaya that presented it to their heads over them, and their heads didn't see it, and eventually they did see it. So that whole thing, when you see these camps teaching about the UFOs, they got it from One West, but they got it from Chaazaq, High Priest Chaazaq and High Priest Yeshaya. So let me come back over here. And also him and Yeshaya. Prior to that, we were thinking that the Byzantine Empire, the Constantine, were a bunch of devils, a bunch of Edomites, devils, and they were the ones that came. Them two, I don't know who got it first or where they worked together, but they were very close. About the icons, the black icons, Constantine being the Jake, that they were Israelites. It came from them two, Chaazaq and Yeshaya. So, now let me pull it over here. Now that's how he looks. As soon as I said that's Chaazaq, but he looks, now the last time I saw him was, almost 30 years ago. So he looks the same, but he just looks, you ever watch a movie where you got a young person plays a role, and then they put makeup on him to make him look older? Well, that's what he looks like. He looked like a young Chaazaq with some makeup to make him look older, because he didn't have a full gray hair. He had a couple of grays there, and he was much younger looking. So what I'm going to do here is I'm gonna pull it back here, and let me just say this: that Apostle Ramlab did a video concerning an agent, and he kind of cursed out people in general about, maybe he get no. The guy, that dude was a damn demon. He's an agent. You look, you do something that's, agent activity, something that's, not kosher. Look, I'm gonna magnify that shit and say, this dude's the devil. He's an agent. So he kind of, Apostle Ramla was a little upset, so he kind of cursed people out. Take your head out your ass. Don't take it personal. He wasn't talking about one particular person, but we heard it through the years. Well, we don't know. He could be a good, So don't take it the wrong way. Don't take it the wrong way, man. Let it fly off your back. But be mindful that anybody that's suspicious, even the tiny bit suspicious, what does it say to what does it say in Romans 16? It says mark that man, meaning the word there in the Greek is scopeo, which means to scope him out. Don't have to say nothing. He does something a little suspicious. You keep your eye on him. You might tell other guys, you say, look, I noticed he did this. He was coming out of the police department, and he kind of saw me, and he kind of turned his eyes away, hoping I didn't see him. So you know what I mean. Like in the movie Donnie Brasco, the one mobster saw the other mobster, and the guy said, "Oh shit!" Like he saw me, and Donnie Brasco, which he was undercover, he kind of said, "Oh shit." So if you get an "oh shit" moment, you better watch this guy. You better assume that this guy is an agent or a spy. Give me a second. Yeah, if I munch, please forgive me because I didn't eat all day. I ate earlier. I got me some Turkish food, which is like Greek food. Anyway, I'm gonna let this play, and then I'll kind of come in here and there.
Trust that shit. It's all over. But let's get into what the brother said about his learning, understanding in One West, and how he see the doctrines different, and how some people think somebody trying to attack him. And no, the man asked, he said, I want all the damn tough questions, so Sham asked some. But let's start at the beginning of him introduce himself, and we're going to let him speak, and then later on we'll chime in. Go ahead, Doc. To shock him most
what happened to the Israelite in the past or present. I came in One West, 125th Street School.
All right, and this is Elder Chaazaq family. He was the number 7 because you had the 7, so he was number 7 out of the 7.
A very humble guy.
In 1979, I was classified as being the 7 in the order of the 7, and then I was part of the 4 on One West 125th Street. From there, it moved to 1941. But I'm here tonight to clear up a whole lot of fallacies and heresies, and to bring back the order of how the Israelites supposed to operate under Christ and so forth. So there'll be no hoodwink.
Oh, what do we pick up? Under Christ. That's a no-no. Let us say Yahweh.
One of the high priests used to say, It's not what you need, what you see you need to worry about, but what you don't see.
Now, I want y'all to listen to something very good that the elder said. He said that he's here to bring back the order. So y'all need to understand that's not going to happen. One West will never bring back any order. Even if he tried to get together with Nathaniel, Johanna, Rakar, anybody, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Because, like I said, there's too many lies that's been spilled, too much blood has been shed, and the only way that they will come together and bring back an order is nobody going to step down from their position. For one, Nathaniel not, Johanna not, Rakar not, because they built. The Most High set it up that way anyway. That's why he divided that thing up. But there's no way that they can come back under one order and still be teaching lies and think that nobody's going to challenge them. You wanted to say something, Elder Quanah?
No. I mean, it's interesting what he's going to say. A lot of stuff he says I agree with. I got to admit. But you're 100% right. Ain't no man bringing back no order. Christ bringing back the order. You know, and one more thing. Also, I can tell, listen to this, dear brother, that he was hurt the way he was treated. You know, let's just get to it, man.
And there's a lot of heresies and false teachings out there. So this is what this is all about. I'll allow you to ask questions. This is basically an overview of everything that has pretty much happened from the past and the present. And what I want to say most of all is, like I said earlier, there'll be no hoodwink, no hidden hand. The Rosicrucians was the ones that came in and infiltrated the order. That's what's happening. That's why you got all the confusion today in the church. And there's three things that have separated us most of all. The Immaculate Conception, the Gentiles can be saved. Okay, that's yeah, and what's with the other one? The Gentiles can be saved. Okay. In other words, let me see what I want to. What I would like to do, I basically like to deal with questions. And
Hey,
the other
Sam, can you
thing
stop
that
it right there?
we had with is
Go ahead.
Now, that's key. This is the second time he said it. The first time he said questions, and the second time he said he really want to deal with questions. Right? No trying to hide, no hiding, no hand or anything. He want the questions. Okay, go ahead.
the so-called comforter came about. All this was brought about because the whole order was infiltrated. The whole order was infiltrated. At one point in time, they came into school. The Rosicrucian order came in and they offered the church a whole lot of resources if they would change the doctrine. And then Yaquab was one of the main brothers that two of the main
Hey, Shan, one more time. I'm not. I've
asked
let it
them
play,
to
but
leave.
I promise I'll stop. This is very key, Shan, because I never thought about this till I listened earlier.
Mm-hmm.
He said that they wanted them to change the doctrine.
Right.
Now, what doctrine? Because everything we found out they was teaching, not everything, but 90% of the shit they was teaching was wrong. So
Right.
what doctrine they wanted to change? And then you're going to listen later on what they were really teaching. You're like, well, what is it that they wanted to change? What doctrine?
Right. Right. But I guess he'll get to it, right?
Yeah and no, but we'll see. Because I'm trying to figure out what because what? Stop telling Mexicans they Israelites? Like, what the hell doctrine they want to change? Go ahead, Al.
Okay.
So we know at this point, I know at this point that this is what has happened. I'm a little slow getting going, but after I get going, I'll be able to flow a little bit more better. So hopefully this will be able to be, you'll be able to, order, you'll be able to bring the best part of this forward. All right. Now, I said earlier, the things that have separated us is the Gentiles can be saved, no immaculate conception. Christ, the other part was Christ was born without an earthly father, and his father was named Joseph. Then you had another heresy that was going on, that Messiah is coming back to be David, to be the king of Israel. Christ is the king of Israel. And Christ is going to sit on the throne of David.
Oh, you know what, Sam? I got it.
And then there's other heresies going out there. No.
When he said they sold out and they wanted to change the doctrine. So I guess the doctrine did change, because One West.
You spoke about Messiah being King David. That's what the 7 was teaching. So you were down with that too, because you wouldn't have made it that high up in your ranking. There was people in the school that if they didn't believe, they said, "No, I don't believe he's King David." Any of the 7 would call a council and said, "Look, you got to hit the road." So y'all were all teaching that, all right? So this is not nothing new, and David is going to sit on his throne. But Yahushua is going to be above him in the spirit. The physical king on the earth is going to be David. Okay? That's in Ezekiel 37. That's in Hosea chapter 3, verse 5. So there's many scriptures that go into King David, or David their king. Let me put that in there. Peter is David. It said, "Ye shall sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel." So throne number 1 is going to be for Peter, which is David. Let me put this in. David, their king. Came up. Beautiful. Help me out. Let's see what's going to come up. Bear with me for a minute. Let me do it this way. Let me come back because I just want to get that phrase. Okay, David. Let me do this. Capitalize that. David. Copy. Let's do it now. David their king. Okay, here it is. There's a few more. I didn't mention this one. Jeremiah 30, verse 9. "But they shall serve Yahweh their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them." That's talking about actual David. David is going to sit on the throne. He's going to be the king of Israel. When it says in Deuteronomy 28:36, "Ye and your king shall go into captivity," it's talking about King David, which was Moses at the time. Reincarnation. Hosea 3 and 5, I quoted that, so I'm going to read it. Afterward shall the children of Israel, matter of fact, you know what, let me come up. Hosea 1 is another one. "They shall appoint themselves one head." Okay, let me see. Okay, 3rd verse. You read the 1st verse. 3rd verse, Hosea 3, verse 3. "And I said unto her, Thou shalt abide for many, many days. Thou shalt not play the harlot." And now this represents Israel. The harlot, that the woman that Hosea lay with, the Most High said, "Go and get a prostitute." Because it said, when you read, matter of fact, let me do this, because people get stupid. It says, "Then said Yahweh unto me," which is Hosea, "Go yet, love a woman beloved of her friend. yet an adulteress according to the love of Yahweh toward the children of Israel, who look to other gods and love flagons of wine. Israel looks at other gods and flagons of wine, meaning philosophies. So I brought her to me for 15 pieces of silver. And 15 pieces of silver was a lot of money. So that's prostitution right there. When you pay for sex, you in exchange for sex, you give a woman money. That's prostitution. Yeah, but the man gave her $1 million. Hey, like this chick, Janet Jackson, she got with this Arab dude for 5 years. It was a prenup. She had to agree to stay with this guy for 5 years, and she was going to get $5 billion. So she stayed with the guy for 5 years, plus another maybe 3-4 months, and even got pregnant and had a baby by an Ishmaelite, that fucking hoe. And then all of a sudden she said, I ain't feeling you no more. Yeah, because she timed it. So guess what? She was a prostitute for 5+ years. Yeah, but she got a $5 billion for she's a high-class prostitute. She's the highest paid prostitute in the history of prostitution. Janet Jackson. Now recently, she's doing a tour as of sometime last year. And why do you think she's doing the tour? Because she blew all that goddamn money. When you live a certain lifestyle, you spending money left and right. So she burnt through that goddamn money. And homer of barley, that food, and half homer of barley. And I said unto her, thou shalt abide for me many days. Thou shalt not play the harlot. In other words, don't sleep with another man, because I'm renting you for a certain amount of days. And thou shalt not be for another man, so will I also be for thee. In other words, you'll rent a bride. I want to rent you for 3 months. And what they used to do in the ancient world, they do that shit today. They'll clean your house, they'll cook for you, they'll rub your back, they'll give you sex. They're like a housewife, a renter wife, which is a prostitute for the children of Israel. So this harlot represents, and it says right here, play the harlot. In other words, you can't go with any other man while I'm renting you. For the sons of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without a teraphim. Afterward shall the sons of Yasha'Allah return, and that's talking about now. We're returning right now. Read Isaiah 19 and seek Yahweh. We're doing that right now. Their power, and David their king. Hosea 1. They shall appoint themselves one head, for great shall be the day of Jezreel. Jezreel meaning he's the seed of God. Meaning Israel, another way of saying Israel. And shall fear Yahweh and his goodness in the latter days. We're in the latter days. So we're fearing the Most High by proclaiming that we're the Israelites. All right? So now let me come back over here. Where the hell did I put it? Okay, right here. So he went off when he said the king is Yahushua. The king is Yahushua over David. But he's a spiritual king. See, our Lord Yahushua is not going to sit on a physical throne. He's going to be in the spirit world. But he's going to dwell among men, meaning men, women, and children. That's Revelation 21. And David's going to be the physical king that sits on a physical throne. He's going to be on throne number 1, then you're going to have a throne number 2, then you're going to have a throne number 3, then you're going to have 144,000 thrones, and then you're going to have the rest of the men of Israel. They're going to have their thrones, because we're going to be what? A kingdom meaning kings, right? Of priests. Give me a second. So moving on.
Teach that Christ was born through sex. So
Right.
they sold out. Maybe they were teaching a virgin birth at first. Maybe they was teaching Christ they wasn't teaching reincarnation, but now they're teaching reincarnation.
Been teaching reincarnation. Reincarnation is biblical. That's an easy thing to break down. So when priest Chaazaq got in there, they were teaching reincarnation. Because who's Elijah coming back? That's reincarnation.
Right.
So maybe the things they're teaching now, because they say they sold out, is the sellout. Maybe the chart is the sellout.
Right. Right.
Maybe the people they said Israelites is the bag.
Right.
Maybe Hosea 7:8 is the bag. Maybe Specklebird is the bag. Maybe Second Esdras is the bag that they was told to teach. Because if you're saying they sold out and changed the doctrine, then what was it that they changed? Because if they took the bag, what is it that they changed? Unless what they taught us today, and that was the change from whatever they was teaching then and now, and what they're teaching us now was the sellout. Numbers 1:18, seed of the father.
Right. You can sleep with any woman and the baby will be an Israelite.
Exactly. Maybe that's what the change is, because you.
Excuse me. That's correct. You can sleep with any woman. If you're an Israelite man, you put your seed in any nation's woman of another nation, that child's going to come out an Israelite.
Think about it. This shit is crazy. This is destroying the people. You can beat your wife. You can have a sex with a girl when she get her flower.
Right.
You can rape. All these different doctrines. Maybe these are the doctrines that they sold out to teach.
Well, Quash did say they was teaching that back then, that you could rape, which I didn't know. What he was saying about they used to teach that you would be there to rape the other nations, I didn't know that. They ain't never teach us that shit.
That's good.
You don't have to keep the law. So these are the things that is being taught out here. And then there's other things that's being said. Certain brothers is out there saying that they second to Christ. What a hypocrisy. No man on this earth is second to Christ. The order in heaven is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That's the order. Then there's Michael, one who is like unto God, or the Most High. And then you got the other powers, the 7 archangels and so forth. So the other thing that's been taught, there's no Trinity or no hell. When in the Bible it tells you that there's a hell.
That wasn't taught originally when you came in. The hell is the grave. And that was something that was pulled up every so many years, mainly by Yeshaya. So I didn't know that Chaazaq was in cahoots with Yeshaya, but Yeshaya used to bring it up. He used to have a big council, and that used to be knocked down. Then maybe 2 years later, be brought up again. Then eventually it was, brought out by Chaazaq about the hell thing, which is Roman Catholic doctrine. So Chaazaq, or priest Chaazaq, is going off once again. The Most High is not dealing with this guy. There ain't no such thing as no eternal hell. Even Bishop Nathaniel was teaching that until we put up videos recently knocking that, and now he no longer teaches that. So he came back to his senses. And none of them guys understand the MOTB.
In the Bible, the demons didn't even want to go into the deep. It's called the abyss.
Stop, Shan. One more.
So these
So
are the things I
we
kind
are
of highlight.
correct. We correct. So the doctrine that y'all learning now is the sellout. Because a lot of times, even Bakwash now say he knows there's a hell.
Yeah, because they teach us that hell is on earth.
Hell is on earth. They teach it. It's the sellout.
Telling you when you die, you don't have no place where you go. Your soul don't go anywhere. Hell is your condition on earth. You know what I mean?
But the scripture's plain as day. What?
So he mentioned Bakwash, Queen of the 2/3. He's teaching. Let me bring that back. This is very interesting. And see, we are here to dispel and debunk all of these foul doctrines. And anybody that's questioning what the elders of GMS is saying, you can just go. You can get with your man with the long gun. Hang out with him.
Learning now is the sellout. Because a lot of times, even Bakwash now say he knows there's a hell.
So Bakwash. Now I don't know what Zabak teaches, priest Zabak teaches, but that's a new demon. All of a sudden, hell actually exists. Don't exist. Hell is the grave. That's it.
Yeah, because they teach us that hell is on earth.
Hell is on earth. So what they teach it is the sellout.
I'm telling you when you die, you don't have no place where you go. Your soul don't go anywhere. Hell is your condition on earth. You know what I mean?
But the scripture's plain as day. What about the rich boy that said, please tell my brothers, because he don't want them to go where he is.
Yeah, he said I want his worst enemy to go there.
That's a parable, first of all. And then these two guys, these 4 individuals, they lost. They came into this 12 they once said 12 years ago, which makes sense. And they was in this thing for a couple of years. And they came up under Barack and the HODC. Then they went on their own. Then they didn't do anything for about a year and change. And we know because we used to go on the site saying, when you gonna do? You ain't out on the street no more. And they took a break for about a year and change. And then they all of a sudden came back. When they came back with a whole different doctrine. So this is mad confusion, bro. And that's why the Most High set us up here, the men of GMS. We are the ones with the 100% truth. Chaazaq doesn't have the 100% truth. And the Most High is not dealing with Chaazaq because he, like I said, if he left for all this stuff, him and Yeshaya left, they should have just kept teaching. What does it say in Isaiah, Isaiah 30, verse 20? As you read down, I said, ye shall see your teachers. So I haven't seen this man in almost 30 years. So
that's how bad it is.
Right? That's Sheol on the left side. So maybe what y'all learning now is to sell out and don't realize it. Because he's going to go into it. He just admits, he's mentioning it right now. Better go.
And like I said, I'm a little slow getting off, but as we go on, anybody have any questions to ask about this, we can go into it. But I know there's an inner circle in this order. When you go back into the past, like I said, the guys that came forth in the past was W.S. Crowley. Then you had F.S. Cherry. And he was the one, by the way, the first one to teach that Christ was coming before the year 2000.
Uh-oh.
So then from W.S. Crowley, they had groups going all over the country, all over the world. Then after you got Winthrop, he was the one, this is the past account of the Israelites. These are the fathers of the Israelite movement. You definitely have to know about the fathers of the Israelite movement in order to move forward, to understand what the Israelite movement is about now. So you had F.S. Cherry. He was the one that taught that Christ is coming before the year 2000. And we know that our teacher was in One West teaching that as well.
Stop right there, Stan. Stop right there. Now, he's a 7. Now, how many guys, either they lied or they was misinformed, or just didn't go to class that day. He's a 7 and said they was teaching that as well. In the year 2000, they were teaching that as well.
Yeah, that was part of the doctrine based upon Hosea 6:2.
Way back then. Come on.
His group, they had people all over the country, all over the world. And from his group, he had Edomites, Caucasian in his group. And they believed in a black Jesus and so forth. Now, the second leader that came after W.S. Crowley was James Grove. He was an Edomite. A lot of the brothers like to talk about the Edomites and so-called white man and so forth. But the same order that you in, there was an Edomite over this order at one point when you go back to W.S. Crowley.
Woo!
So from him came other leaders like Plummer and some of the other ones. Now I'll bring you up to the group that we came from. W.S. Winthrop Matthew. By the way, his name was Marshall too. Marshall David Bunyoman of Yehuda. So,
Yeah, Winthrop Matthews, Rabbi Matthews, I believe. If not him, my history's low. One of them actually came from Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, let's listen on.
From him, his spiritual advisor was called Arnold Ford, which is the first black rabbi, Arnold Ford. And he was the one that taught him different things about the spiritual aspect of the Bible. And by the way, Winthrop Matthew had Jewish rabbis, so-called rabbis, coming from Eastern Parkway up there, laying the order and structure, and they was teaching the black congregation.
Paul,
Now,
stop right there. Stop right there. Now, did y'all hear that? That's powerful as hell. Because you saying we one west out of something, whatever street it is, 1969. Well, he just said that they were learning from white rabbis. That's the order. Take it back a hair. That's the order. That's what we was learning from.
Was James Grove. He was an Edomite. A lot of the brothers like to talk about the Edomites and so-called white man and so forth. But the same order that you in, there was an Edomite over this order at one point when you go back to W.S. Crowley. So from him came other leaders like Plummer and some of the other ones. Now I'll bring you up to the group that we came from. W.S. Winthrop Matthew. By the way, his name was Marshall too. Marshall David Bunyoman of Yehuda. So from him, his spiritual advisor was called Arnold Ford, which is the first black rabbi, Arnold Ford. And he was the one that taught him different things about the spiritual aspect of the Bible. And by the way, Winthrop Matthew had Jewish rabbis, so-called rabbis, coming from Eastern Parkway up there, laying the order and structure, and they was teaching the black congregation. Now, we bring you up to our leader, one of our fathers, Ibn Bibbins. Ibn Bibbins is the one that R.E.R. and Marshall and Yaqua was.
That's the fulfillment of Elijah coming back. Reincarnation. So reincarnation is biblical.
Thunder. And by the way, R.E.R. was Bar Mitzvah over at Winthrop Matthew. So guess what? Winthrop Matthew was in cahoots with who? He was in cahoots with the rabbis and the Jewish, so-called white Jewish population over in Eastern Parkway, the Hasidic, so-called Hasidic Jews. And so they had a big part of it. He tried to join into their brotherhood. Their brotherhood is called the B'nai B'rith. The B'nai B'rith is the brotherhood of those Orthodox so-called Jews that are in Israel today and so forth. So since they would not accept Winthrop Matthew into the B'nai B'rith, he went and set up the Royal Ethiopian Hebrew Israelites. And that's where One West, Eba Bibbins, Arya, Marsha, Yaquab ties into. So when he set up the Royal Ethiopian part, and by the way, the other name that Bibbins used was the Commandment Key because it came out of that. So when Matthew set up the Royal Ethiopian chapter of the Hebrew Israelites, based on he couldn't join in with the Caucasian Edomites, white folks in the B'nai B'rith, since he couldn't join in with them, his spiritual component of Judaism, of our worship, was Kabbalah, or Kabbalah, or whatever you want to call it. And we know for a fact you don't supposed to deal with that, because that's dealing with the fallen angels, tapping into the spirit realm of the fallen angels. And I used to hear our leader talk about it different times. He used to talk about Ketha, which is 1, crown, 2, wisdom, 3, represent intellect, 4, mercy, 5, judgment, 6, beauty, 7, victory, 8, glory, and 10, foundation, which is the kingdom. So this is what have corrupted the whole body. We
Hey, Shan,
the tree of good and evil.
did he just say the real name is the Royal Ethiopians?
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear no Ethiopian part.
He said something about Royal Ethiopia, something. That was
He's gonna play it back, but they were linked up with them Philosophies and all that over there in Africa. So they looked at them Africans as some of them that practiced as brothers, which they were not. All right. See, the spirit rested on Abba, which is Elijah coming back, John the Baptist coming back, and that's why he broke off from them, and they were not dealing with the New Testament. They were waiting for the Messiah to come for the first time. Abba was the one that broke off, and he delved into the New Testament, and he said, spoke of the Messiah, Yahweh Shai.
First name, because they wouldn't let him in their group.
Hold on.
Yeah.
And we know for a fact you don't supposed to deal with that, because that's dealing with the fallen angels. So since they would not accept Winthrop Matthew into the B'nai B'rith, he went and set up the Royal Ethiopian Hebrew Israelites.
Oh, you was right.
And that's where One West, Eba Bibbins, Arya, Marsha, Yaquab ties into. So when he set up the Royal Ethiopian part, and by the way, the other name that Bibbins used was the Commandment Key because it came out of that. So when Matthew set up the Royal Ethiopian chapter of the Hebrew Israelites, based on he couldn't join in with the Caucasian Edomites, white folks in the B'nai B'rith, since he couldn't join in with them, his spiritual component of Judaism, of our worship, was a Kabbalah. Or whatever you want to call it.
Now, we already proved and had the history of the elders brought out that they was teaching out of the Kabbalah.
Yep.
Time ago. So that is true.
And we know for a fact you don't supposed to deal with that, because that's dealing with the fallen angels, tapping into the spirit realm of the fallen angels. And I used to hear our leader talk about it different times. He used to talk about Ketha, which is 1, crown, 2, wisdom, 3, represent intellect, 4, mercy, 5, judgment, 6, beauty, 7, victory, 8, glory, and 10, foundation, which is the kingdom. So this is what have corrupted the whole body. We living in the tree of good and evil from Adam's time. That's where we at. That's why you're going to get good, and that's why you're going to get some evil. But we're supposed to come forth from that. We're supposed to come forth for that because the priesthood has been changed. After the priesthood went into the Levitical order, it's supposed to come into the Melchizedek order. That's where we're supposed to be. But this is why the confusion is going on in the body of Israel. The reason that the confusion is going on in the body of Israel, because this whole thing, the foundation that was laid for us to come forward as Israelites, was laid on Masonic principles, was laid on the Rosicrucian principles, a magical society, was laid under the Kabbalah order and so forth. That was the inner circle. That's the inner circle of this thing.
Damn.
So from there, there's many things that we could talk about. I got started out kind of awkward here and couldn't get my thoughts together, but we could
Champ,
flow
am I
as
hearing
we
this right? Did he
go
say this
forward and
whole
ask
thing
questions
started
and
under
so
the
forth.
magic and the Kabbalah?
Pardon me?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like he's saying to me.
Take that back here. I mean, that's what I don't want to be. I mean, what?
Just for the record, they went off on certain things, but they wasn't. We weren't opening no Kabbalah. None of the teachers said, "Okay, go to chapter so and so in your Kabbalah." We didn't go into no. We went into the scriptures. We went into the Josephus. We went into the Torah and Tanakh. We did the Sabbath service. We was heavy into the Hebrew. High priest Ariel was heavy into prophecies, histories, prophecy, history, and the Hebrew and the high holy days. So he would be pretty much the high priest. He went into prophecies. He went into history. He went into maps. He went into the Josephus, the Apocrypha. And what did I miss? The Hebrew.
Hold on.
To the Melchizedek order. That's where we're supposed to be.
And for the ones of you that don't wonder who is Melchizedek, Melchizedek is spoken of in the book of Genesis in relation to Abraham after the slaughter of the 5 kings. And it's also spoken about in by the Apostle Paul in Hebrews chapter 7. And the Apostle Paul is telling the Hebrews, meaning the Israelites that knew that they were Israelites. Remember, he went to Ephesus, which were Gentile Israelites. Corinth, Gentile Israelites. The Hebrews were who? Israelites that knew that they were Israelites, bringing them closer to, giving them the understanding of the Messiah. So when he broke down who Melchizedek was, he was saying that Melchizedek is Yahweh Shai. Back there when he met Abraham at the slaughter of the kings, it was the first tithes that were given. Who's the high priest of all high priests? Yahweh Shai, even though he's of the tribe of Judah. Matter of fact, I'm going to go to that real quick for the ones of you that are new here. Okay, let me bring this over here. Let me go to Hebrews. And that's a lot of information in the book of Hebrews. Hebrews, what was that? What did I say? It's Hebrews 7. It's a short chapter. The order's already set. And the Most High set us up at GMS. And then there's other camps out there that are teaching the truth. You know, we get on IUIC, but they bring out a lot of truth, but they go off on a couple of things. Same goes for ISUBK. They teach a lot, the same stuff that we teach. They go off on a couple of things. So let me go here in Hebrews 7 and 1, since the priest Chaazaq had mentioned it. For this Melchizedek, and by the way, Melchizedek means king of righteousness. Malak Tazadaq, king of righteousness. King of Salam, or Malak Shalom, or Malak Shalom, or king of Salem. Priest of the Most High God. Wait a minute. Didn't the Most High set up the priesthood with Levi? This was before Isaac was on the scene. This was before Jacob was on the scene. This was before Judah was on the scene. So what's this all about? How can he be a priest if he's not a Levite? Well, he's the Levite of Levites, if you will. It says Melchizedek, priest of the Most High power, Yahweh, and met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him. And by the way, when it says that, I believe it's in here, it is in here. It said that he had no father, no mother, without descent, and that's in the 3rd verse. And what he did was, after he met Abraham, Abraham gave him all the first tithes. The word tithe means tenth. He gave him a tenth of all he owned. So you got people talking about, well, you can't give him actual money. Well, wait a minute. Abraham gave him gold, silver, wheat. He gave him it said he gave him 10% of everything. When you go to Genesis chapter 13, it tells you, matter of fact, let me go to it before a nigga gets stupid. He never had no love. Abraham never had no money. He didn't know what gold was. So let me just shut your damn mouth. Genesis. Bara'ashyas, which means in the headings. Barashith, the so-called Jews say Barashith, which means in the beginning. Okay, 13, I believe it's in. 13. And Abraham went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him, into the south. And Abraham was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. Cattle, and if you got cattle, you got to have a land. So you had grass growing, you had certain trees, crops growing. You had honey because of the bees, a land flowing with milk and honey. It says, and Abraham was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And by the way, gold and silver is real money. The paper dollars that you got, that's called currency or cash. And as you go on and read, he gave a 10% of everything to Melchizedek, which is Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is over Abraham. Read the 2nd verse again. To whom also Abraham gave a 10th part of all. So what the first tithes was what? The cattle, silver, and gold. Because back there, when you go back into the history, that was money. What you had was a barter system. You can make a deal with somebody, and I did this a couple of times. I had purchased a car from a guy that he has a dealership, and he said it's going to cost this amount of money, and I said, I'm getting rid of this car anyway. How much can you give me for this car? How much can you knock off? And he said, I can knock off 1,000 or whatever I forget, whatever the case may be. That was a barter. So what he did was he put it down on a receipt, that I gave him X amount of money in paper money, and I gave him X amount of money. I gave a car which was estimated at $1,000 or $500, whatever the case may be. because I would have gave the car away or sold it, and instead of selling it, I said, you want it? You can go. And he turned around and sold it, most likely. So that's called a barter system. It said, to whom also Abraham, so when the people were giving the priests 10%, they were giving them 10% of cattle. It speaks about this, giving them the shoulder, giving them corn, but it was 10%. But it also represents money. There's an account in Judges 19 with the male that chopped up his concubine in 12 different pieces. Where he was a personal priest for someone, and it made a deal. He said, look, I'll give you 10, I believe he said 10 shekels or 10 pieces of silver a year, and I'll take care of your food and all that. And he jumped at it. He said, oh, hell yeah. So that gives you an idea of how far silver went. It said, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part or a tithe part of all. First being, by interpretation, king of righteousness, Melchizedek, and after that also king of Salem, Malach Shalom, which is king of peace. It says, without father and without mother, without descent. So what was Melchizedek? He was an angel that came in the form of a man. Because angels don't have fathers and mothers. So they don't have a tribe. So now when Yahushua came as the Lord, Emmanuel, I'm now Allah, he came down by way of father and mother. The Most High could have brought him, just made him appear on the earth like Melchizedek. That's how he came. He came that time. Yahushua came that time having no father and mother. This time he came, he had a father and a mother. So I'm not going to read anymore. I'm not going to do this whole thing because I'll be here all night. I'm going to do this in parts, if anything. And if you go to Apostle Rhymelob's page, he said he just did an intro. He went into it for 18 minutes, so I guess he's going to do another one either tonight or tomorrow morning, whatever. And we doing the work now. You guys that are wondering what you do and I don't know what to speak, look, we're at the home stretch. Okay? If you ain't in gear, the Most High is going to get you out of here.
But this is why the confusion is going on in the body of Israel. The reason that the confusion is going on in the body of Israel, because this whole thing, the foundation that was laid for us to come forward as Israelites, was laid on Masonic principles.
We deal with the scriptures, okay? We deal with the straight scriptures. Okay, whatever the teachers taught us, we went and learned and studied and questioned. And after the split, that's when we rechecked a lot of things. And there were certain things that they went off on.
Laid on the Rosicrucian principles.
Masonic.
Was laid under the Kabbalah.
If I open up the scriptures and I read Revelation 13 and the beast, and I say that represents NATO and the EU, is that Masonic principles? No. If I say, if I read thou shalt not steal, is that Masonic principles? No. It's the Bible. We go by the scriptures. We don't do that extra stuff. We go by what the scriptures say. If we wasn't going by the scriptures, the Most High wouldn't have us out here on the highways and the byways doing these videos and constantly showing our faces or showing ourselves, right? Go back to Isaiah 30, verse 20. You shall see your teachers. So if we wasn't the teachers, the Most High would get Acts 5 and 38. If these men are not of the Most High, they shall come to naught. I've been in this thing going on 40 years. And you've been seeing me since I've been on day one on YouTube, July, like the third week of July 2007, up until now. That's what, 17, 18 years. So I never stopped teaching. So how can the Most High not be dealing with me? Or us.
order, and so forth. That
And there you have it. He said they was made off of Masonic principles, Rosicrucian principles, Kabbalah, magic order, magical, like witchcraft. So basically, he's saying this shit was all laid out off of witchcraft principles. I'm gonna run that back one more time. That's what he's saying. If y'all hearing clearly, family, all this shit was set up off of witchcraft. Easy to read between the lines. Hold on.
Damn.
Listen real good.
to the Melchizedek order. That's where we're supposed to be. But this is why the confusion is going on in the body of Israel. The reason that the confusion is going on in the body of Israel, because this whole thing, the foundation that was laid for us to come forward as Israelites, was laid on Masonic principles, was laid on the Rosicrucian principles, a magical society, was laid under the Kabbalah order and so forth. That was the inner circle. That's the inner circle of this thing.
Stop, Sam. Stop. This
So,
this takes me back to when one brother came on and said Ariad was practicing something and jumped out the goddamn window.
That was Kabbalah. He said that a spirit or a demon came out and hit him and threw him out the window when he was messing with that book. Because remember, I had them books. I got rid of that shit.
Ariad did fall out a window. He fucked his leg up. They said he would never walk again. He wound up walking. And he told that story many times, but he didn't say he was reading out of Kabbalah. He whether he did or not, he never told me that. And he said that, told us that story.
Quick.
Yeah.
Because when I looked at them, it was all types of crazy shit in them Kabbalists. I said, oh, fuck no. And see what
I
y'all
told you I don't even want it.
y'all don't understand is in the Kabbalah, they have the menorah in there. And they use that also too with Satanism. They got all types of stuff around the menorah. That's why when brothers be talking about, oh, you got on a star and all, y'all don't understand. If you had a Kabbalah, they got all types of symbols in there that Israel used. That's why I be like, these people they say anything, bro, because they spooked out. But just because somebody used something from evil, you see what I'm saying, don't mean that it was never good or it can't be used for good or the Most High made it for good. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. This is
there's many things that we could talk about. I got started out kind of awkward here and couldn't get my thoughts together, but we could flow as we go forward and ask questions and so forth. Now, the main thing that they talk about that what I mentioned that separate us is the Immaculate Conception. When you go into the Bible, and it tells you in the book of John, when Christ called all, when Nathaniel, I believe it was Nathaniel, in Matthew was the first chapter. Let's go there right quick. Let's knock down all these fallacies. John, the first chapter. Bear with me a second.
man, that shit was heavy right there, bro. Damn.
Mm-hmm. 140, John 1. Come see. Yeah. It's 145. This knocks down the fallacy that Christ didn't have a biological father on the earth.
Anyway, I'm going to close it
John
right
1,
here.
45.
This is
Here's
48 minutes in, almost 49 minutes in.
Said unto him, we have found him.
So see you on the next round. If I do a round 2.